Hello, my friends. Jack Descartes here. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And this is Sentinel Circle. So we're going to go ahead and cut right into the topic here. Woman mistaken for thief after shop face scan alerts. And I know that we're mostly about men here, but this can happen to anybody. That's why I'm bringing this. And this is not a question about facial identification. This is more a question of, I don't know why, but everybody takes the computer's word. It's like, it's the same not symptom, but like, it's the same phenomenon that happens when we read something in print. We take it at its word when it could be completely wrong. Same situation. I think it's because it's coming from a computer. We assume the computer's correct, which I work with computers. I know for a fact the computer's wrong half the time. There's times where, like, for example, logs are usually correct, but it takes interpretation and experience to understand what the log's trying to tell you. But things like time on a computer, time, unless it's set correctly, it's usually wrong. You know, we've seen that with, I think the guy at the car wash, that happened to him. No. I didn't cover that video. Someone else. So there was an incident where this guy, he got accused of, I think, unaliving someone, and he apparently was using their card, but the timestamp on the video was incorrect. So they were looking at the wrong time on the video, not realizing that it was incorrect, and that dude ended up getting prosecuted for something he obviously didn't do. So again, that's kind of why I'm saying this. Computers, when it comes to certain details like that, they're often wrong. And that's more like the laziness of the computer technician. But anyways, I digress. So let's continue on here. A woman who was wrongly accused of shoplifting toilet roll, which this is British, so they mean toilet paper, due to an apparent mix-up with facial recognition system, was left fuming after being ejected from 2 home bargain stores. Danielle Horan was escorted from the branches in Greater Manchester in May and June and initially given no explanation. So basically what happened was she walked into the store, and then she was immediately approached by security and said, "You got to leave." I've seen that happen before. One of the places I work at, or not work at, but work for, the Mart of Walls, they'll recognize shoplifters and follow them and all that stuff, especially in the smaller stores. They'll do that. The AP does. And, you know, it's always the same people. They're in there trying to steal. The store knows who they are. They have files on them. You know, once you're on that list, you can appeal and get your name off that list, but you got to be like consistent, and then there's procedures. Anyways, it's bureaucracy. But I've actually seen it. You know, as soon as a person walks in, the AP comes out and starts tailing them. You know, they literally do that stuff. But you know, if you're a consistent problem, okay, fine. But this is more about a woman who is falsely, you know, accused here. And it could happen to any one of us. That's why I'm doing this. She later discovered she was falsely accused of stealing about 10 pounds worth of items after her profile was added to a facial recognition watch list. Wow. Facial recognition watch list to prevent shoplifting. Retail security firm Facewatch, which provides the technology, says, "We acknowledge and understand how distressing this experience must have been, and the retailer has since undertaken additional staff training." So my question is, why do the staff need to be trained? Why can't the software say, like, it's a probability rather than, yes, this is a person? Why do I have to ask these questions? Because I know what the answers are. The company, Facewatch, technology is never at fault. It's not our technology, because if they admitted that there's fault, they open themselves to lawsuits. And I know this is, the UK, but they go through lawsuits there too. The firm said a review of the incident later showed the items have been paid for. Home Bargains has declined to comment, which fair, okay. Miss Horn, who runs a makeup business, said she at first thought it was a joke when the manager of Home Bargains at Regent Road, Salford, asked her to leave the shop on the 24th of May. She said everyone was looking at me, all the customers at the till, and I was like, for what? After her, I don't know why it's the British. I'll just say the American version. After her protests, the manager advised her to contact Facewatch directly, but Miss Horn said she had no joy from her messages to the firm or to Home Bargains. She later visited another Home Bargain store in Falfield, Manchester, with her 81-year-old mother on the 4th of June. As soon as I stepped my foot over the threshold of the door, they were radioing each other, and they all surrounded me and were like, "You need to leave the store," she said. My heart sunk, and I was anxious and bothered for my mom as well, because she was stressed. But I was ready for it because of what happened the previous time. I just fought my corner and said, "You need to tell me why," which, good for her. Anybody who's in that situation, just immediately demand why. It was only after repeated emails to both Facewatch and Home Bargains that she eventually found out there has been an allegation of theft of about 10 pounds worth of toilet rolls on the 8th of May. So 8th of May versus 24. So that's 16-day difference, 2 weeks difference, roughly. Her picture has somehow been circulated to local stores, alerting them that they should not allow her entry. Here in the U.S., the business does have a right to not do business. It's posted on every single business door and all that stuff. We have the right to refuse service, and they do have the right to refuse service. That being stated, there's going to be a point where people can't survive because of that. At what point... I don't want to go around saying it's a human right, because it really isn't. If you're a jerk in an establishment, they have every right to kick you out. But if a place is essential for your survival, like a grocery store or whatever, when does that become a danger? I don't know. I don't know the answer to those questions. Miss Horn said she checked her bank account to confirm she had indeed paid for the items before Facewatch eventually responded to say a review of the incident showed she had not stolen anything. And again, this is what happens: is they insist up and down that they're not in the wrong, that the program's not in the wrong. At what point? I guess really what it boils down to is, like, I want to sit there and say there should be a law. My immediate reaction is there should not be a law. Laws are not... There shouldn't be laws to do the right thing, because the right thing would have been, hang on, let's check, and then they look, and then they're like, oh, no, we made a mistake. That's the right thing. But apparently nobody's willing to do the right thing, so how do we enforce the right thing? And laws don't equal morality, and the problem is laws can be abused. So I don't know where the right answer is on this. I really don't. Because I was persistent, I finally got somewhere, but it wasn't easy. It was really stressful. My anxiety was really bad. It really played with my mind, questioning what I've done for days. I felt anxious and sick. My stomach was turning for a week. Guilty by algorithm. In one email from Facewatch seen by the BBC, the firm told Miss Horton it relies on information submitted by stores, and the Home Bargain branches involved has since been suspended from using the Facewatch system. That's interesting. I didn't know that they could be suspended like that. Madeline Stone, senior advocacy officer for the civil liberties campaign group Big Brother Watch, said that it had been contacted by more than 35 people who have complained of being wrongfully placed on a facial recognition watch list. They're being wrongfully flagged as criminals, Ms. Stone said. They're given no due process, kicked out of stores. This is having a really serious impact. Historically in Britain, we have a history that you are innocent until proven guilty, but when an algorithm, a camera, and a facial recognition system gets involved, you are guilty. And again, this is the inherent problem. It really isn't innocent until proven guilty. It's guilty until proven innocent. I don't care what anybody says. That's the truth of the matter. They treat you like you're guilty because the process is the punishment. They don't care if you walk free after that. They already got their blood. You know, that's why I honestly believe that here in the U.S., we should not allow mugshots to become public record. We should not allow records to be public record until you're found guilty. And even then, it should be expunged from your record automatically. It should not take an act of the court, meaning you pay an attorney to get it done for you. It should be automatic after a time, because we should be able to walk away from our mistakes. Obviously, there are certain instances where we shouldn't be allowed, but in general, we should be allowed to walk away from it because, you know, life changes, you know, things happen. But, and I've seen this with many people, you know, one mistake, it's a stain on the rest of your life. It doesn't matter how long ago it was, the fact that it happened, you're humiliated again and again and again and again and again. You know, and it makes me angry. Big Brother Watch has called for the UK government to completely ban facial recognition technology from retailers. The Department for Science, Innovation and Technology said while commercial facial recognition technology is legal in the UK, it must comply with strict data protection laws. Organizations must process biometric data fairly, lawfully, and transparently, ensuring usage is necessary and proportionate. No one should find themselves in this situation. The problem is people are finding themselves in this situation. You know, I mean, again, it's every business's right to turn you away. They have a right to do so. It's their property, their business. They can do whatever they want. But when they provide an essential service like a grocery store, where is that line? You know, I mean, we're at a point now where we're treating internet access as a utility. Why is food not being treated the same way? I don't know. You know, I would argue that food is more urgent and necessary than, you know, internet. But I digress. I don't want to sit there and say that our priorities are messed up, because they're not messed up. Our priorities make sense when you understand that they're trying to control you and not trying to feed you. They don't care if you're alive or dead. As long as you're getting the message, that's all that matters to them. That's why internet is considered an essential human right. But I don't know what the right answer is here. I really don't. I just think that, I mean, a full ban, maybe that's where it goes. But I don't believe in banning something. You know, I don't know where the correct answer is here. But what I do know is this needs to change. You know, so much technology is coming up so quickly now. We can't keep up. I mean, what happens when AI randomly decides that you are a criminal? What happens when AI decides that you are the parent? You know, because AI has hallucinations. They make stuff up out of the blue, and they're slowly already augmenting and taking over certain industries. You know, I mean, yes, humans make a mistake. I get that. Humans make mistakes all the time. I understand that too. But I would rather have a human make a mistake and try to defend that than the computer make a mistake and we defend that. You know, because when we sit there and say, well, the computer's never wrong, no, that's not true, for one. And two is that's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. So I hope that we can settle this quickly, because this is going to become a problem. I don't know what the right answer is. I don't know what the wrong answer is. I just hope that maybe the right answer is there should be a way to appeal it. You know, rather than having to hunt down the name of the company and send emails and all that stuff, there should be like a form to appeal some kind of issue like that. And it forces a person to look at it. Maybe a neutral third, I don't know. You know, I don't know what the right answer is, but there's got to be a happy compromise here, because this is our future. I mean, you know, everyone's so afraid of the social credit. Well, the United States already has that, and that's the financial credit system. You know, you don't pay a bill, you got a mark, and now you struggle to, you know, get a loan or whatever. You know, before that system, it really depended on the bank. You know, you walk into the bank, you talk to a loan officer, and he makes a decision. Sometimes it wasn't a good decision, but you know what? He made a decision. Now, it's like, you know, it doesn't matter. Like, you could have like a bad week, and all of a sudden your rates go up, and decisions that you shouldn't be influenced on those numbers are. You know, so that's the next logical step is social credit. And again, we actually do have a social credit system, and that's the judicial system. You know, that's the law system. You break the law and you get caught and you quote unquote do your time. Well, no, you're serving a life sentence. You know, at least with the social credit system, if you did good things, your score went up. And granted, they were like good in the view of the CCP, but they still go up. But here, you make one mistake, that's with you for the rest of your life. There is no getting out of it. You know, we've seen what that looks like with the whole cancel culture. You don't come back from it. I'm sorry if I'm feeling a little more dour and my videos seem a little more dour this week, but that's really how I feel, is dour. Because it just seems like I'm screaming about these things, and I guess people are listening, people are responding, but it's like I don't know. I thought talking about it would make it better, but in a weird way it's not. If anything, it makes me feel worse. Maybe that's kind of the whole point, is to make you feel so bad that you don't want to deal with it. You just accept it. I don't know. Anyways, I'm not going to sit there and say, I hope you enjoyed this video. Well, I hope you enjoy my content. And if you do, great. Please share, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Okay? And I hope you have a great day. Okay? Talk to you later.